This channel is not designed for entertainment or viral content. It exists for people who are actively healing, seeking clarity, or exploring the psychology behind their emotions and patterns. Every episode is carefully written and produced with emotional depth, reflection, and care. If you're here expecting casual commentary, high-energy hosts, surface-level discussions, flashy production, or entertainment-focused content, then we gently refer you to other channels offering just that. At DeepDive, we focus on quiet, deep, and intentional content to support those on a real mental health journey. If that's you, then welcome to our channel. You're in the right place.
Welcome to the Deep Dive podcast channel. Today, we're diving into something incredibly relevant for, well, probably all of us living in this fast-paced world. You know that feeling, right? Your calendar's just overflowing, emails are piling up, life is moving at 100 miles an hour, and then suddenly, you notice it. That tightness in your chest, maybe? Shortness of breath, racing thoughts, anxiety. It doesn't really ask for permission, does it? And it certainly doesn't wait until you have a clear schedule to deal with it. We often feel like taking care of our mental health is just another huge task on an endless to-do list. You know, meditation, therapy, getting proper rest. Maybe later we tell ourselves when everything else is done, which is, well, basically never. But what if healing didn't require an hour on a cushion or even a quiet room? What if you could find calm, actually reset your nervous system and reclaim your body and mind in just seconds, even right in the middle of the chaos? That's what we're here to unpack today.
Absolutely. We're exploring the power of what we call mindful micro breaks. And these aren't grand gestures, They're short, intentional pauses, often just 30 seconds to maybe a couple of minutes. And they're really effective at interrupting stress and just gently bringing you back to the present moment. From a trauma-informed psychology perspective, we understand that the nervous system heals not only through that deep, lengthy work, but also through small, consistent moments of safety, presence, and regulation. It's about finding those accessible, quick anxiety hacks that can work for pretty much anyone, anywhere, anytime.
Okay, let's get into this because it feels almost counterintuitive. We're so often told that big problems need big solutions. So how can something so small make such a big difference when you feel completely overwhelmed?
Yeah, that's a really crucial question. What's fascinating here is understanding how our nervous system actually operates. When you're overwhelmed, it's not just stressed in some vague way. Your body and brain are often in a physiological state of survival. Fight, flight, or freeze. That's the mode it clicks into. And the common misconception is that healing from that state requires perfect stillness or, long stretches of quiet. But what your nervous system truly craves fundamentally are these little signals, these micro moments of safety. These micro breaks, they work because they activate your parasympathetic nervous system. That's your body's built-in calming system. They send signals in the language the body understands. You're safe. You can breathe. It's okay to pause. And these aren't just thoughts. They come from doing small, intentional actions, physical cues.
Right, interrupting that survival mode seems key. But is there actual science behind these tiny pauses? Or is it more about just feeling better subjectively?
Oh, there's robust science. Absolutely. Studies show that even very brief mindful practices, we're talking under 2 minutes sometimes, can have a profound impact on our physiology. We're talking about measurable things like reducing cortisol, the stress hormone, lowering blood pressure, and even increasing heart rate variability, which is a key indicator of nervous system resilience, how adaptable you are. And beyond the physical, they also improve attention, boost executive functioning like decision-making, and significantly decrease perceived stress and anxiety.
Oh.
Dr. Stephen Porges' polyvagal theory, for instance, really teaches us that safety is a physiological state, not just an emotional feeling. So these micro breaks help you shift out of that threat state and back into regulation. One breath, one blink, one step at a time, maybe.
Safety as a physiological state. That's powerful. So who are these micro breaks really for then? Is it mainly for people in those super high stress jobs, or does it apply more broadly, like to students, parents, caregivers, just everyday life?
Yeah, if we connect this to the bigger picture, micro breaks are truly for all of us, really.
Oh, yeah.
Whether you're that busy professional drowning in deadlines or a student juggling exams, a parent just multitasking to survive the day, or maybe a caregiver who feels like there's just no room to exhale. And they're particularly powerful, I think, for individuals with trauma histories, because sometimes those traditional, long, silent mindfulness practices can actually be triggering, maybe leading to dissociation. These short, embodied breaks allow for presence without that sense of overwhelm, which is just crucial for gentle regulation.
That makes so much sense, addressing that potential trigger issue. And actually, while we're talking about what helps you connect,
Yeah.
if you're finding this deep dive helpful, we'd really appreciate it if you take a moment to subscribe to the deep dive and maybe leave us a comment. It really helps us bring more discussions like this one straight to you. Okay, so moving on to the really practical stuff. What do these quick anxiety hacks actually look like? Can you give us some tools, things our listeners can maybe try, like right now?
Absolutely. And these are all designed to take, between maybe 30 seconds and 2 minutes. And the great thing is you can do them almost anywhere at your desk, in a bathroom stall, even stuck in traffic maybe. They're always within reach.
Right.
So first up, let's talk about the breath awareness reset. This takes about 60 seconds. What it is simply a gentle return to your breath. Just noticing it without trying to change it or force it. Why it works? Well, it increases interoception, that's your body awareness, and helps calm the vagus nerve. How to do it? Just sit or stand, maybe lower or close your eyes, and silently say to yourself, I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out. Just follow the sensation of the breath, nose, throat, chest, belly, for maybe 6 to 10 breaths. And if you want, you can place one hand on your chest or belly. That can add a bit of grounding.
Okay, just noticing, not fixing. That sounds really accessible, especially when you feel that tightness starting.
Exactly. Next, we have the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding tool. This one usually takes around 2 minutes. It's a sensory mindfulness technique. What it does is it anchors you firmly in the present moment. It's great for reducing those spiraling thoughts, pulls you out of that internal loop. How to do it? You slowly name 5 things you can see right now, then 4 things you can touch, then 3 things you can hear, then 2 things you can smell, and finally 1 thing you can taste, or maybe just want to taste. The key is to really take your time. Notice each one. Engage the senses.
Ah, I can see how that would immediately pull you out of your head and into, well, right here, right now, like a mental reset.
It really is.
Yep.
Okay, then there's bilateral stimulation. This can be super quick, 30 seconds to a minute.
Yeah.
This involves alternating stimulation on each side of your body. It sounds technical, but it's simple. It helps the brain process stress and re-regulate. You can just gently tap your left thigh with your left hand, then your right thigh with your right hand, just back and forth rhythmically. Or even just walking and paying attention to the left-right movement of your steps counts. Yeah. You can even pair it with a calming phrase if you like. Maybe, I am safe, as you tap or step.
That one feels really useful because it's so discreet. You could do that in a meeting, couldn't you? Nobody would know.
Exactly. Very adaptable. Another powerful one is mindful micro-movement. This takes maybe 1 to 2 minutes. This is just bringing slow, intentional awareness to small movements. It's not exercise, really. It helps move stagnant energy, grounds you back in your body. So maybe stand up if you can. Slowly roll your shoulders, gently stretch your arms overhead, maybe sway side to side a little. Really feel your feet on the ground. You could silently say, I'm in my body, I'm here. It's about embodied noticing.
And what about focusing on something outside yourself, something external to anchor to?
Right, that leads us to object anchoring. This is a really quick one, maybe just 30 seconds. It's about focusing intently on one neutral object near you. Like really looking at it, why it works. It engages your prefrontal cortex, the thinking part of your brain, which can help calm that emotional flooding. So choose an object, maybe your mug, a pen, a leaf outside the window. Study its texture, its color, temperature, shape. Breathe slowly while you're looking at it or holding it. Let it anchor you. It's kind of like mindfulness disguised as curiosity. Makes it less intimidating, perhaps.
These tools are fantastic, so simple, yet sound so effective. But, it's easy to dismiss a 30-second pause. Like, is it just a Band-Aid? How do these micro moments really add up? Do they create lasting change, real resilience long term?
That's a really important point. And what's fascinating here is that micro definitely doesn't mean minor. Not at all. Healing, doesn't only happen in those big therapy sessions or week-long retreats. In trauma-informed care, we really understand that safety is built in layers over time. Through repetition, consistency, micro breaks work because they literally train your nervous system to return to regulation faster. Each time you do it, it gets a little easier. They create new neural pathways for calm. They build internal trust, that feeling deep down that, okay, I can pause. I can come back from this feeling. So these aren't just quick fixes. They are neurobiological rituals of reconnection, if you like. Think of them like drops of water on dry soil. Each one seems small, right? But over time, they soften the ground. They make it more resilient. Regular microregulation really does lead to long-term nervous system resilience. Your body just gets better at finding its way back to calm.
That makes so much sense. It's like exercise for the nervous system, but gentle, compounding over time. But, okay, practicality again. Our listeners are busy. How can they actually integrate these into lives that already feel completely full? How do you build a micro break habit when you feel like you barely have time to breathe?
Yeah, this is critical how to make it stick, right? sustainable. My first big tip is to stack them with existing habits. Habit stacking. Attach a micro break to something you already do automatically every day. For example, when you brush your teeth, maybe do the 5-4-3-2-1 tool. When you first turn on your computer, do a quick breath reset. While the kettle boils for coffee, maybe try that object anchoring with your mug. Find those natural transition points in your day and to just weave the practice in. Takes the pressure off finding extra time.
That's brilliant. So it doesn't feel like one more thing to do. What else can help?
You can also use visual reminders. Sounds simple, but it works. Stick a Post-it note that just says pause somewhere you'll see it often. Your monitor, the fridge. Or place a specific object like a smooth stone or a small shell on your desk. Maybe wear a bracelet you can touch when you feel anxiety rising. These little cues can be surprisingly effective prompts. And finally, maybe the most important thing, make it yours. Not every practice will resonate with everyone, and that is perfectly okay. Choose the ones that actually feel like relief, not like another chore. Start small, like really small, maybe just one break a day, then maybe two. Over time, it becomes a natural rhythm, not a task you dread. Consistency over intensity, always.
Okay, but I can practically hear some listeners thinking, I just don't have time for this. Or maybe this sounds nice, but it won't actually help me. Or even, look, I've tried mindfulness before, and honestly, it just made me feel worse, more anxious. What would you say to that skepticism? Because it's real.
It's completely understandable to feel that way, honestly. We're often taught that effort equals results, and these feel effortless almost. But micro breaks aren't about fixing you. They're not about forcing you into something uncomfortable. They're more like a gentle invitation back to yourself, slowly, compassionately. If sitting still feels activating or triggering, start with movement, the shoulder rolls, the gentle swaying. If silence feels too loud, use a sound-based practice like the 5-4-3-2-1, focusing on what you hear. If focusing inward feels scary, start with touch, feeling your feet on the floor, or that anchor object. There's truly no wrong way to take a break. There's just the next breath, the next tiny moment you choose to reclaim for yourself. It's about adapting the tools to fit you right where you are in that moment. Listen to your body.
That really reframes it, doesn't it? Less pressure, more invitation.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just to bring it home for our listener, thinking about your day, where can you plug these in? Where could these become your go-to reset button?
Yeah, think about your typical day. They're always within reach. Maybe before a stressful meeting. Use the 5-4-3-2-1 tool to ground yourself first, or after receiving some difficult news. Try that breath awareness, maybe with a hand on your heart for comfort. What about during sensory overload, like a noisy office or a crowded train? Try the quiet bilateral tapping, stuck in traffic. Instead of fuming, try anchoring on an object inside your car. At night, when you can't sleep, mind racing. Slow shoulder rolls, maybe silently naming sounds you hear outside. Really, whenever stress arises is ideal. Or even better, maybe anticipate it slightly and pause before it peaks. Those transition points in your day, starting work, after lunch, heading home, before bed, they're all great opportunities to just pause.
So what does this all mean for us when you step back and look at it? In a world that just constantly praises hustle, glorifies being busy, taking a pause, even a tiny one, it really does feel like a radical act, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It's a quiet rebellion, in a way. Choosing to come back to your body, your breath, even for just 30 seconds, it's a stand against burnout, against anxiety, against that feeling of disconnection. And you don't need to be a Zen master. You don't need to do it perfectly right. You just need to notice when you're feeling overwhelmed and then give yourself permission to pause. That one choice, just that permission, made over and over again, it gently rewires your brain for calm. It allows your body to find moments of safety. And maybe, just maybe, that's the kind of subtle, accessible healing you've actually been looking for all along. It's empowering yourself from the inside out.
Wow. This deep dive has given us some incredibly powerful, yet really surprisingly simple tools. We really hope you feel empowered now to maybe experiment, to try incorporating some of these mindful micro breaks into your own day. And remember, the journey to greater calm, to more resilience. It doesn't always require these huge, grand gestures or massive blocks of time. Sometimes the most profound changes really do begin with the smallest, most intentional pauses.
Indeed. So we leave you with this thought to consider. What small, maybe seemingly insignificant pause will you choose to take today? And how might that tiny act, repeated over time, become the cornerstone of a calmer, more resilient you?